In the perilous world of martial heroes, where swords replace justice and where valor and ambition clash between heaven and earth, there once erupted a cataclysmic battle between two legendary figures, Victor Yue, the famed gentleman sword, and Leonard Zuo, the formidable leader of the Mount Song sect. This battle was not merely a clash between two masters, but a death knell for an era of the Five Peaks Sword Alliance, where righteousness was devoured by ambition, and the line between good and evil was severed by a single flash of steel amidst a thunderous sky. At that time, the Five Peaks Sword Alliance, 5 mountains, 5 pinnacles of martial arts, was in crisis. While men of virtue grew scarce, those consumed by greed and ambition like Leonard Zuo rose with ferocity. From the towering heights of Mount Song, Leonard Zuo issued a grand call to the sects under the banner of unifying the martial world. But in truth, he sought domination, turning all sects into pawns of Mount Song. The old fox knew, if the 5 peaks were unified, the one who led would rule the world. In the face of this insidious scheme, Victor Yue would not yield. Outwardly donning the cloak of a gentleman, within burned a storm of ambition, a craving for supreme power. For the grand cause, for fame, he stepped into darkness and mastered the demonic dusk sword technique, a forbidden and malevolent art that once shook the martial realm. From that moment on, the sword in his hand ceased to be one of righteousness and became the blade of destiny, cleaving through deception and toppling the very tenets of chivalry. And then the day of reckoning came. Atop the majestic Mount Song, within a grand hall that rose amidst the clouds, hundreds of martial artists gathered. The tolling of stone bells echoed like drums, heralding a battle to the death. Leonard Zuo strode into the center, his aura blazing like a fierce tiger, his gaze sharp as icy blades sweeping the hall, roaring his proclamation to unify the 5 peaks and declare himself the sole sovereign of the martial world. But amid the oppressive atmosphere, Victor Yue appeared. Calm and composed, robes fluttering in the wind, stepping forward under the stunned gaze of the crowd. His voice rang out like a bronze bell, solemn and resonant. The unification of the 5 peaks, is it for justice or for self-interest? The martial world needs a leader, but it cannot be one who thrives on deceit. His words struck like thunder from a clear sky, shaking the entire hall. Leonard Zuo's face turned purple with rage as he roared, "Who dares defy me?" "It is I, Victor Yue," came the resolute reply, sharp as a sword drawn from its scabbard. With no retreat left, the two sides confronted one another, and the earth-shattering duel erupted. Leonard Zuo launched himself into the air like a thunderbolt, his entire being exuding a murderous aura. One palm strike released a burst of inner power that shook the hall to its foundation. But in the face of this storm, Victor Yue merely sidestepped with ease, his figure like a phantom. Sword light flashed like lightning in the dark, beginning a deadly symphony of steel. Their figures danced across the hall, sword auras entwined, winds howling, like dragon and tiger locked in combat, like sun and moon colliding, making heaven and earth tremble. Dozens of masters watched in silence, not daring to interfere. Sword shadows crisscrossed in a dazzling storm, weapons clashing with deafening roars. Stones cracked underfoot, pillars shattered, as if the mountain itself bore the wrath of two martial gods. Leonard Zuo unleashed his ultimate technique, thunderstorm chain palms, each strike booming like thunder, heaven's fury incarnate. Yet the more he struck, the more suffocated he felt, for Victor Yue's swordplay seemed ghostly, formless and cold as ice, deadly as vipers in the night. It was the might of the demonic dusk sword, merciless strikes aimed directly at fatal points, offering no chance to breathe. Blood spilled. Leonard Zuo took a sword to the shoulder, crimson spraying like red rain, yet he clenched his teeth and fought on, eyes bloodshot, howling like a beast. "You traitor! You've walked the path of demons." But Victor Yue remained unfazed, coldly smiling, raising his sword skyward as he shouted, "Right or wrong is decided by the strong. From this day forward, the martial world shall have but one master." He unleashed his final strike, gentle as a breeze, swift as a lightning bolt. In an instant, before Leonard Zuo could react, a chill spread through his chest, his body trembled, and blood poured from his lips like a crimson stream. "Impossible," he whispered, and collapsed into a pool of blood as red as the fate of a fallen tyrant. The battle was over. In the haunting silence, Victor Yue slowly sheathed his sword, his icy gaze sweeping across the hall. No one dared lift their head, not a single protest. For they knew, from that moment on, the fate of the Five Peaks had changed. The Huashan banner fluttered atop Mount Song, but it no longer symbolized justice. It was the emblem of absolute power, of a man willing to sacrifice everything, even his soul, for fame and glory. From that day, the martial world plunged into storm. The glorious chronicles of chivalry continued, written in blood, betrayal, and the cold flash of blades in the gloom. Yet the battle between Victor Yue and Leonard Zuo, in its ferocity, grandeur, and heroic spirit soaring to the heavens, would forever be remembered as a tragic epic, etched deep into the hearts of generations to come.